Welcome back to Melanie's Yoga Couch. I'm Melanie, and today we're going to do a yoga sequence for digestion. So think more like gas, constipation, bloating. And if you have acid reflux, I have another video for that, so check it out. I'm going to post it in a link above. Yeah, so I recommend that you start off with some movement. We're not going to really do a lot of movement right now. I have other videos for that though. I'll post a link above. And so you can get stretched out before we move into this. But you can also do it just as a single yoga sequence. That works too. Just be mindful that you're not super stretched out and super warmed up. Okay, then let's get to it. Let's get to the mat and come into child's pose. Bring your knees to the edges of the mat. Walk your hands out. We're just coming into extended child's pose. Bring the forehead to the mat. Just to take a couple breaths and first arrive. We're really going to use the breath here. It's also nice if you've done a breath exercise before, because the breath will help us to massage the inner organs and help to get things moving. So take a couple really deep breaths, filling the lungs and exhaling completely. Let's maintain this type of breath through the rest of the practice. On your next inhale, bring your weight forward. We're going to move into tabletop position on our hands and knees. And on your next inhale, lift the chest and the tailbone. We're coming into cat-cow, really stretching out the stomach on cow. And with cat, we'll round the spine, press the hands into the mat. Again, the breath is really important here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. 3 more times. Inhale, lift. And round. One last time. Round. Your tailbone reaches towards the mat. And then find a neutral position. We're going to press up into downward facing dog. So make sure the fingers are really spread out nice and wide, shoulder width apart. The feet are about hip width apart. Toes press into the mat. We lift the hips and move into downward facing dog. Again, if you're not really stretched out, make sure the knees are bent. And you can start to walk out the dog, just stretching out the legs, starting to give them a nice warm up. Deep breaths. And then we'll move back into a neutral position. It's okay if the knees stay bent. You might walk your feet in just a little bit. We're going to twist here. So bring your left hand to the right leg. Maybe bring it to the ankle, the calf, or maybe it's a little bit higher. That's fine. And just start to look underneath your right shoulder and twist over, really pressing into the right hand. Deep breaths. Move on over to the other side. Left hand into the mat. We'll bring the right hand over to the left leg, ankle, calf. Using the breath to massage the stomach, massage the organs. Release back to the middle, finding downward facing dog. With the inhales, we breathe deep into the stomach. Exhales, reach the belly button towards the spine.
And then we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet, coming into a forward fold. Bend the knees deeply, especially if your hamstrings are not yet really warmed up. And then we're going to hook the big toes with the peace fingers and the thumb. The elbows bend towards the outside. Bend the knees deeply and release the head. You might straighten out the legs a little bit. You might bend the elbows towards the sides, just pulling yourself deeper. But remember, this is more for the internal organs and less about stretching the hamstrings. So feel free to keep the knees very bent. And then release the big toes. We'll walk back out into downward facing dog. Release the knees to the mat, hips to heels, and we're going to scoot the feet over to the side. Stretch the legs out in front. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. We're coming into Navasana boat pose. Bring your hands underneath the knees, lift up the legs. Try to keep the back really long and straight. And then reach the fingertips forward. And bring the hands together in front of the chest. We're going to straighten out the left leg and twist over to the right. Come back to the center. Straighten out your right leg, twist to the left. Don't forget the breath. 2 more times. Twist to the right. Center. Left. Center. 1 more time each side. We're coming back to center. We bring the feet to the mat, hug the knees in. Just give your knees a nice hug. You can leave the feet on the mat, or you can balance on your sit bones. Then release the feet to the mat. Draw your arms out in front. Roll all the way back down to the back. Gotta move my microphone a little bit. Yes, and then find yourself on your back. The feet about hip width apart, parallel. We're coming into bridge. So the arms are on the side. Palms and arms, forearms, pressing into the mat. We're going to press the feet into the mat and then lift up into bridge. Reach the pubic bone towards the nose. And then reach the chest towards the chin. And then scoot the shoulders underneath the back and maybe bring your hands together underneath the back, interlacing the fingers and pressing the arms into the mat. Deep breaths here. We're going to stay for 5 more deep breaths. Open up the arms, release the hips back down to the mat. Bring the feet to the sides of the mat, let the knees fall to the middle. Bring your hands to the stomach. Take a big deep breath into the hands, filling the hands with air. And exhale, release. 1 more deep breath, just like that. And then hug your knees into the chest. Maybe massage your back a little bit by rolling from side to side. We're going to come into shoulder stand. If
you have any neck injuries, back problems, or if you're on your period for ladies, then just feel free to come into another pose, Supta Baddha Konasana, for example, or just whatever you want to come into. You can also just come into laying in Shavasana. Okay, so we're going to bring the arms to the mat. We want to lift the knees up towards the forehead, pressing the arms in the mat. Then bring your hands behind the back to provide support. Scoot the elbows in, shoulders underneath the back, and then slowly lift the feet up. We want to look up directly towards the toes to protect the neck. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Then we're going to drop the knees behind the head. You can first bend the knees and bring the knees towards the forehead. And then straighten the legs out or bring them straight out behind you. Watch that you have enough room. As you can see, my couch is a little bit in the way. If the toes don't come to the ground like this, then keep your hands on the back just for extra support. If they do come to the ground, you can straighten out the arms and interlace the fingers and press the arms into the mat. If this is too much for your neck or your back, just start to roll yourself back down. 1 more breath. And then slowly start to roll down. You can bend the knees and just roll the body down, coming into Shavasana. Just for a moment. Let the back align itself. Then we're going to draw the left knee in towards the chest, towards the left shoulder. And we're going to take the left knee into the right hand, stretch out the left arm towards the left, and we're coming into a twist. So guide your left knee over to the right. Maybe it doesn't come all the way to the ground, that's okay. And then look over the left shoulder. One more breath. Then pull the knee back in towards the middle. Pull both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice little hug. And then straighten out the left leg. Draw the right knee into the chest. Into the right shoulder. We're going to bring the right arm over towards the right. You can stretch it out or do cactus arm. We're going to take the right knee and in the left hand and guide it over towards the left. Looking over the right shoulder. Draw the right knee back up towards the middle. Draw both your knees in. Again, give yourself a nice little hug, rolling around a bit on the back perhaps. And then release your legs out, coming into Shavasana, lying on the back. The feet fall open. The arms are to the sides, palms facing up. Take one more deep, deep breath into the stomach, filling the stomach. And then exhale everything out. And then just release any kind of control over the breath and breathe really naturally. Just letting the breath be however deep or however shallow it happens to be at the moment. And I encourage you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you need to. For those of us getting up at the moment, you can start to wiggle your toes, bringing small movements into the hands and the feet. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. We'll roll over to the right side. Press the left hand into the mat, come up to sitting. And we'll finish there for today. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. It'd be great to see you next week. Have a great day. Namaste.